Over the last 7 years, the keto diet absolutely exploded, but it's really started to lose a lot of popularity. And it comes down to the fact that the keto diet just doesn't necessarily work for everyone, or at least not in the way that a lot of people are using it. Today I'm sharing why the keto diet just doesn't work for everyone and what you can actually do instead to achieve your weight loss and wellness goals. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Element. More on them in a bit. Okay, the first reason why the keto diet is just not working for a lot of people is because of the rise of keto treats. Keto ice cream, keto cookies, keto granola. Ultimately, it's just really high fat treats that sometimes don't have sugar but are still very sweet, usually because of things like sugar alcohols. Although the insulin spike isn't really there because it's not real sugar, the satiety cues and the satiety hormones are just not being hit because it is so overly sweet tasting or hyper palatable. From my perspective, it's mimicking that bliss point, which is where you take both high fat and high sugar foods, think like ice cream, and it bypasses our normal satiety cues and tells our brain that we just want to keep eating well beyond our body's needs. But people see oh, but it's keto, it must be healthy. It might not have the sugar, but it doesn't mean it's going to keep you full and satisfied, and it certainly doesn't mean it's going to help you achieve your weight loss and wellness goals. The second issue is that it's the high fat, low protein approach. Not all keto diets are like this actually, but there are quite a bit of people who are using the very high fat approach, but also very low protein approach. And protein is the main food that triggers our satiety hormones and tells our brain we're full, we're satisfied, and we don't need to eat. Now, there is certainly a therapeutic reason for why some people might want to use the very high fat approach and very, very low protein approach. But from a weight loss perspective, I've not seen this to be very beneficial because it doesn't really hit those same satiety cues the way it does when you combine higher fat with an adequate amount of protein. Better keto diet approaches would be to have that high fat, but also account for protein, which leads me into my third point. Not everyone needs to be that low carb. For some people with a very, very low carb approach like keto, it can be really helpful, like in the cases of epilepsy or severe insulin resistance or perhaps even PCOS, but not everybody needs to have less than 20 net grams of carbs per day. In fact, some people it's actually kind of useful to be incorporating some higher quality starches. And I'm talking things like squashes, maybe some sweet potatoes, maybe some lentils. I'm not saying bread, pasta, crackers, any of those refined grains, or really grains in general, but instead very nutrient dense starches that are also slower release. For example, higher intensity athletes tend to do better with having some of these starches because they need that fast source of energy for that high intensity exercise. But there is something you can do instead to kind of get the best of both worlds. And before we get into that, I want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Element. Now, if you've been using the keto diet or some type of low carb approach or even intermittent fasting, you're probably pretty familiar with the fact that you can lose a lot of electrolytes and a lot of water. Cue things like the keto flu, muscle aches, low energy, headaches, constipation, which is why making sure you get adequate water and electrolytes is so crucial. Element is a zero sugar electrolyte company, and it has the sodium, the magnesium, and the potassium to help replace those lost electrolytes without any sugar. I really like their mango chili, their raspberry salt, and their lemon habanero, but they also have the citrus salt, the orange salt, and even unflavored. An Element comes in these little packets, which makes it really easy to use. You can bring it with you anywhere, even if you're traveling, and you can just tear it open, dump it in your water, usually about 16 to 32 ounces of water, give it a shake, and you're ready to go. And right now, Element is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single-serve packets free with any Element order. It's a really great way to test out all 8 flavors, so you can get yours at drinkelement.com/autumn. This is only available through my link, so make sure to check out drinklmnt.com/autumn. Now, what you can do instead that takes a lot of the same benefits of a keto or low carb approach, but helps to better tailor it to your body's needs is really a 3-step process. First of all, it is important to assess your individual carb sensitivity, because maybe you are one of those people that just needs to have less than 20 grams of carbohydrates per day. Or maybe you have a carb tolerance similar to mine, where you are able to incorporate some higher quality starches, but not have all of your meals be focused on that. One way to kind of test this out is to ask your doctor for a fasted insulin test. This can give you an idea if you're insulin resistant. Now, this is a fasted insulin test, not an A1C, not a blood glucose tolerance test, but an actual fasted insulin test. That way you can see if your insulin levels already raised during the fasted state, which could signal some degree of insulin resistance. There are also some body cues you can get on carb sensitivity. I have a free carb sensitivity quiz. If you want to check that out, I'll have it linked down in the description below. It's like a 3-minute quiz that helps you determine your carb sensitivity. And then from there, you're able to determine what type and how much carbs your body should roughly be able to tolerate. Like maybe you can only stick stick to non-starchy veggies, or perhaps you can incorporate some squashes, lentils, and sweet potatoes. The second, and this one is huge, and it's to eat enough protein. Eating enough protein for the body's needs really helps you self-regulate hunger. It's insane how much sugar cravings go down, how much hunger goes down when you actually get enough protein. No one believes me on this, and I will get so many clients who tell me they did not believe me on this until we actually assess their protein intake, adjusted to make sure they're getting enough protein for their body's needs, and their mind was just like blown. They were never craving sugar anymore. They just weren't hungry throughout the day, and it just makes that self-regulation just so much easier, and you don't even have to think about it, and you don't have to count calories. It also helps to preserve muscle mass and the metabolism during the weight loss process. I have a video where you can calculate your protein needs. I'll have that linked right up here, as well as in the description below, so you can check that out. The third thing you can do is to use intermittent fasting, which is really eating less frequently, but not eating less. That's important. Which one of the main reasons why keto can help from a weight loss perspective is because it doesn't overly spike the storing hormone insulin. And that's the exact same type of benefit that you can see with intermittent fasting, where you get these natural dips in insulin levels during that fasted state, but also between meals. But just like with the keto diet, it's not a one size fits all approach. You do want to make sure you find the window that works best for you, because like, let's say you're an athlete, you have higher protein needs, which means you need to be able to physically fit more food into an eating window. So you would better benefit from a shorter fast versus someone who has gut health concerns, might want to have a little bit more gut rest and therefore have a slightly longer fast. I also have a free intermittent fasting schedule quiz that's also linked down in the description below. Now, if you want to see how these three principles can kind of all come together, you can check out what I eat in a day with this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.